Previously, on the Vampire Diaries, Elena took the cure and turned back into a human. Damon also wanted to become human, but his friends were not supportive. Lily lost control and succumbed to her bloodlust. Stefan tried to appeal to her emotions to restore her humanity, but it was futile. At Joe and Alaric's wedding, Kai escaped from the prison world and killed Joe. He sacrificed himself to destroy the entire Gemini coven. However, Kai transformed into a vampire. In order to save Tyler, Liv sacrificed herself to trigger Tyler's curse, turning him into a werewolf. Kai cast a spell linking Bonnie's life to Elena's, ensuring that as long as Bonnie lives, Elena will remain in a deep sleep. As Damon severed Kai's neck, the source of this disaster was finally eliminated. The next morning, everyone gathered together to say their goodbyes to the slumbering Elena. After all, vampires have the power to visit dreams, and with Caroline's help, the three friends reunited in a shared dream. Elena asked Caroline to carry on her habit of writing in her diary, so when she wakes up, she can catch up on everyone's stories through it. Bonnie felt very guilty, and Damon finally chose to resurrect her. Elena comforted her, saying, "You've always sacrificed for us. Now it's my turn to repay you."
I just have one more favor to ask. Okay.
Bonnie used a spell to make the feather float, recreating a moment from the past, and they smiled through their tears. Next, it was Matt's turn to say goodbye, and the scene shifted to the town's bridge. This was the spot where Elena had once turned into a vampire to save Matt. She expressed her hope that Matt would become a police officer. In the dream, Elena comforted the grieving Alaric, hoping he would soon move on from the pain of losing his wife. Jeremy returned to say goodbye to his sister as well. He told her he had a secret and promised that when she woke up, he would let her know that he had spent his entire life doing what he had always wanted to do.
Not here. Not in Mystic Falls.
Tyler's farewell took place in the cellar. Elena hoped that Tyler would soon break free from the curse of being a werewolf and find a purpose to fight for. Next was Stefan's turn. Their most memorable spot was by the river. Elena hopes that Stefan will boldly confess his love for Caroline and that he will be happy. Meanwhile, Lily had searched every shipping container but couldn't find her companions, causing her to doubt if Kai had truly deceived her. Enzo remained by her side, unwavering in his support, which warmed Lily's heart. Just then, they noticed a building appear out of thin air. With Kai's death, the invisibility spell on the building was broken, and Lily's long-lost companions awoke. She immediately abandoned Enzo and rushed to them. Kai was troublesome, but there were 6 more heretics just like him here. The Salvatore brothers placed Elena in the family tomb. The cure in Elena's body was incredibly valuable, and to prevent other vampires from stealing it, Bonnie would place a spell on the tomb. Stefan leaves first to give Damon and Elena some time alone. Damon entered Elena's dream. This road was where they first met.
On the ground where we first met?
I'm feeling symbolic.
Elena made Damon promise to live a good life, reminding him that she was only sleeping. They decided to share a dance. On the other side, Stefan mustered the courage to confess his love to Caroline.
I understand if I have to wait for you. And I will. I'll wait. And when you're ready for me, I will be ready for you.
Like 1,000 suns, I couldn't put it out.
Time flew by. In the cemetery lay a sleeping beauty, but no one paid attention because the town had become a living hell. Matt, dressed in his police uniform, nervously patrolled the streets in his police car. From the clock tower, Damon gazed down at the ruined city with a somber expression. Caroline had inherited Elena's habit of writing in her diary. Mystic Falls seemed peaceful. To help ease Alaric's grief, Damon went on a trip to Europe with him, and Bonnie joined them as their babysitter.
So, Damon's watching out for Alaric, Bonnie's watching out for Damon, and I don't know exactly who's watching out for Bonnie.
Matt had completed his training as a reserve officer and was about to become a full-fledged cop. While Caroline was furiously writing, Stefan came by to see her. It turned out that blood was being stolen from the town's blood bank, and Stefan suspected his mother, Lily, was behind it. He decided to get to the bottom of it. Meanwhile, in the town square, another girl was writing in her diary, referring to this peaceful town as hell. The deceit and treachery of the human world made her long for the prison world. Her name was Valerie, and she was one of the 6 heretics. She had been sealed away for over a century, so much so that she didn't even know how to use a cell phone. On her way home, Valerie was hit by a car. The couple responsible fled the scene, indifferent to her fate. Although the minor injuries were nothing to her, it only deepened her disappointment in this world. Since escaping from the prison world, Lily had forbidden the heretics from going outside and even rationed their blood intake. They were allowed only 3 sips a day. Beau was clearly a ruthless and cold-hearted man. Nora had a mischievous, playful nature. Mary was a scheming and calculating woman. Malcolm was the picture of refinement and elegance. Aside from Valerie, who had sneaked out, another heretic had been sent by Lily on an errand. When Valerie returned, she was frustrated by Lily's restrictions. Instead of being annoyed, Lily was very pleased because Valerie did not retaliate against the perpetrators. Lily's philosophy was to integrate into human society. However, as soon as she left, Nora, Mary, and Valerie snuck out to take revenge on the couple. Valerie smashed the man's head with a single blow and then drank the woman's blood. Shortly after the incident, Stefan rushed over upon hearing the news. Nora, Mary, and Valerie not only did not bury the bodies, but also flaunted them in a very high-profile manner. Stefan suspected the heretics and used his connections at the police station to quickly track down their hideout. Determined to wipe them out, Stefan prepared a bomb filled with vervain. Caroline pretended to be a friendly neighbor to distract the heretics, while Matt quietly snuck in to plant the timed bomb. However, things took an unexpected turn during their retreat. Nora took a liking to Caroline's jacket, and Caroline, pretending to be hypnotized, took it off.
See ya!
Wait. You forgot to tell her how good she looks.
It looks amazing on you.
As the bomb was about to explode, Caroline dropped the act and quickly led Matt away, escaping just in time. The heretics were wiped out in one swift blow. Meanwhile, Alaric slipped away while Damon and Bonnie weren't paying attention. It turned out that Alaric had never gotten over his wife's death. Under the guise of a vacation, he had been searching for witches who could help him bring her back to life. He had acquired a legendary artifact known as the Phoenix Stone, said to have the power to resurrect the dead, but no witch had been able to confirm its authenticity. While searching for Alaric, Bonnie was nearly hit by a speeding van. Damon hesitated for 3 seconds before saving her, making Bonnie suspicious. After all, if Bonnie were to die, Elena would immediately wake up. This issue lingered between them like a thorn in their side. Meanwhile, Lily approached Enzo, asking for his help in finding something. Enzo was in a difficult position. Lily had given him new life, but she didn't consider him family, and Damon's side hadn't fully accepted him either. He remained alone, so he refused Lily's request. On her way back, Lily received a threat from Stefan. He claimed the heretics had been wiped out and warned her to leave Mystic Falls. Lily was amused by this. Heretics, who had lived for centuries, wouldn't be so easily killed. Stefan realized the gravity of the situation. They had angered a group of demons. Meanwhile, the town was hosting a graduation ceremony for the police officers, and Matt finally received the badge he had longed for, officially becoming the town's protector. But the heretics were hiding among the crowd. Nora, Mary, and Valerie cast a spell, but it only caused the water from a pump to gush out, making everyone around them burst into laughter.
Incendio!
Suddenly, the square was engulfed in flames, and many of the new officers perished in the inferno. The bloodthirsty heretics reveled in the open-air massacre. Caroline and Stefan were also captured by the heretics. At that moment, Lily arrived. Seeing the carnage, she was deeply grieved.
I fought tirelessly to reunite us. Found ways to coexist in this new world. How dare you jeopardize that? All of you. The bloodshed ends now.
The slaughter was halted, but the heretics' power had been fully displayed. As a result, Stefan negotiated a deal with Lily. The townspeople would evacuate, and the heretics wouldn't stop them. but any humans who entered Mystic Falls afterward would be at the Heretics' mercy. Stefan had essentially ceded the Salvatore estate to the Heretics. With things as they were, Enzo had to choose a side. Caroline wanted Enzo to join them, but he was conflicted. In just one day, the once happy town had become a ghost town. When Damon returned, he stood atop the clock tower, filled with rage as he surveyed the devastation of Mystic Falls. His estate had been taken over by the Heretics, so he convinced Bonnie to help him hunt them down. Malcolm, one of the Heretics, was out hunting, not even sparing the homeless. Bonnie confronted him directly, casting a spell, but the Heretics' siphoning abilities were the bane of witches. Luckily, Damon intervened just in time and ripped out Malcolm's heart. Later, the Heretics discovered Malcolm's body. Lily was heartbroken, sobbing uncontrollably, and her companions were equally somber. That night, Enzo made a surprise visit to Caroline. Caroline thought Enzo had chosen her side and was about to inform Stefan of the good news, but Enzo knocked her out with vervain. Caroline was Enzo's offering of loyalty.
I chose Lily.
Fast forward 3 years, a wounded Stefan was in a warehouse, using blood to wake a sleeping Damon. Damon was irritated.
Not to bother me until Elena was awake.
It's too bad. We gotta go.
Why?
Soon, the Salvatore brothers were on the run. Judging by the silhouette, the person hunting them appeared to be a woman. The cross-shaped scar on Stefan's chest was her handiwork.
Stop until you're dead.
Come on.
Since the Heretics massacre, the residents of Mystic Falls had fled en masse, turning the once peaceful town into a ghost town. Many thrill-seeking young people came to explore, but none escaped their fate, all falling victim to the Heretics. Matt remained in Mystic Falls, but as a mere human, he was no match for the Heretics. However, Matt has repeatedly stopped them without ever being harmed. Alaric constantly warned his students never to set foot in Mystic Falls, but his warnings were met with laughter. After class, Alaric finally told Bonnie about the Phoenix Stone. Rumor had it that the stone had the power to resurrect the dead, and he wanted Bonnie to verify its authenticity. Bonnie channeled her magic into the Phoenix Stone, and she was immediately flooded with a horrific vision of gruesome scenes and bloody cross-shaped wounds. The sight terrified her. Bonnie urged Alaric to destroy the Phoenix Stone. Since Damon killed Malcolm and Enzo offered Caroline to Lily to prove his loyalty, Stefan angrily confronted Damon over the situation. With the Heretics having taken over the Salvatore estate, the brothers moved into Tyler's mansion. Stefan accused Damon of ruining the truce with Lily the moment he returned. To rescue Caroline, Damon had no choice but to go to Lily and confess his guilt. He offered to take full responsibility for Malcolm's death, but Lily suspected he had an accomplice. Damon refused to implicate Bonnie, so Lily ordered him to leave, warning that the consequences would be more than he could handle otherwise. It was then that Damon realized his home had a new owner, preventing him from entering.
No, if you don't mind. I have to get ready to go bury my son.
Damon returned empty-handed and decided to investigate whose name was on the deed. As soon as they eliminate that person, the estate will become ownerless and they can charge in to rescue the princess. Caroline showed no fear of being a prisoner at all and even mocked Nora's outfit. To avenge her lover, Mary relentlessly tormented Caroline. The screams from upstairs left Enzo feeling unsettled, as he still had a good relationship with Caroline. Valerie noticed Enzo's guilt, and out of pity, she placed a protective spell on Caroline. When Mary tried to torment Caroline again, her hand was burned by Caroline's skin. Fortunately, Malcolm's funeral began, sparing Caroline from further torment. Damon discovered that the new owner of the Salvatore estate was none other than Matt. Matt must have been hypnotized by the Heretics to sign his name on the estate deed, and then had his memory erased. No wonder the Heretics didn't harm him. As long as Matt stayed alive, the Salvatore brothers couldn't enter the estate. Damon asked Bonnie to cast a spell to make Matt appear dead for 10 seconds, which would render the deed invalid. But when Bonnie cast the spell, something went wrong. Visions of the Phoenix Stone flooded her mind, faces of different people, all screaming in agony, each of them marked with cross-shaped scars on their bodies. Terrified, Bonnie passed out. Now, if Matt wasn't revived in time, he might really die. Meanwhile, the Salvatore brothers set their rescue plan in motion. Damon went in through the front door to distract Enzo, furious at his betrayal. When Damon stepped inside the estate, Enzo realized something was wrong. In an attempt to get Damon to leave, Enzo revealed Lily's plan. They were going to bury Malcolm in Elena's tomb. Bonnie's seal was useless against the heretics. Stefan snuck around to the back of the estate and rescued Caroline.
We'll call Bonnie. There's got to be a way to get rid of this.
However, the estate suddenly began to shake. It turned out that Enzo had transferred the property deed to one of the servants. Caroline, having been invited, was trapped there once again, while Stefan, who had not been invited, was thrown out of the estate. Enzo had single-handedly sabotaged the Salvatore brothers' rescue plan. Thankfully, Bonnie woke up just in time and cast a spell to revive Matt, preventing a tragedy. Damon arrived at the family crypt only to find Elena's coffin missing. Lily's punishment for him. To Lily, Malcolm meant more than her own son, Damon. Malcolm had been the first to join Lily's heretic family, and the others had all benefited from him in one way or another.
United us.
He was my sounding board, my confidant, my eldest son. Ironic that you took him from me.
Though Lily didn't harm Damon, she used Elena to force him to leave town. Stefan also failed to rescue Caroline. The Salvatore brothers decided to fight their mother head-on. Damon suggested that they pretend to have a falling out, and then Stefan would go to Lily complaining about Damon's faults in order to infiltrate their group. Meanwhile, Damon would go out to capture the last remaining heretic to use as leverage in negotiations with Lily. Alaric lied to Bonnie, claiming he had destroyed the Phoenix Stone, but at that very moment, he was conducting experiments on corpses. When the corpse came into contact with the Phoenix Stone, the corpse was miraculously resurrected. Alaric quickly removed the Phoenix Stone, and the man returned to being a lifeless corpse. Enzo's relationship with Damon completely fell apart, leaving Enzo feeling deeply hurt. Lily heard Enzo's melancholy through his guitar playing and approached to comfort him, but Enzo expressed that he didn't want to be like the other heretics.
No, I had to be one of your children, Lily.
Why did you choose us?
Because of you.
Caroline's situation had improved significantly. Nora brought her one of Stefan's diaries, explaining that it was Valerie's prized possession. In the diary, Caroline discovered that Valerie had been Stefan's first love. Time has come 3 years later, and Caroline had become a high-ranking executive at a radio station. She carried herself with the confident air of a powerful woman. Her assistant informed Caroline that her fiancé had been asking about the wedding again, and wanted to set their honeymoon destination in Mystic Falls. Caroline flatly refused. It was a place of heartbreak she never wanted to return to. Moments later, the assistant returned, saying someone named Stefan had called. Caroline was momentarily stunned, falling silent for a long time. It seemed that after 3 years, they hadn't ended up together, and Caroline was now set to marry someone else. Suddenly, the assistant was impaled through the throat by a stake, and Caroline was also hit hard. By now, some viewers might be feeling confused, as the Vampire Diaries Season 7 switched directors, leading to 2 storylines. The main storyline follows the events weeks after Elena's slumber, with the Heretics taking over Mystic Falls. The secondary storyline takes place 3 years later, where the main characters have gone their separate ways and are being hunted by a mysterious figure.